Hello lovely people, it's your girl Obaa Yaa. If you're new to my channel, I say welcome, and if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning back in. In today's video, I want to talk about how to avoid having dry hair during winter season. Now it's getting colder and colder and colder, and if you live in a climate where it is cold and it is getting colder, and your hair is suffering from being even more dry than the usual, which I feel like natural hair is always dry, and in winter it becomes another story entirely. Oh, anyways, if this appeals to you, then keep watching this video. But before we dive right into it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on the post notifications so that you are notified when I upload my new video. Yes. And also, if you haven't already, kindly check me out on Instagram. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's dive right into the video. Keep your hair protected by wearing hats and keeping your hair covered when it's raining or when it's snowing. I know sometimes when it's snowing or when it's drizzling, like light rain, you might not feel like taking out your umbrella or covering your hair with your, what's it called, your hoodie. Yeah, that's a word. With your hoodie or something, because you feel like it's not necessary. But it's actually not good when it's cold to just leave your hair like that and let the rain and the snow hit your hair. The cold wind mixed with the wetness, with the snow in your hair and the rain in your hair, is going to leave your hair even more dry. Okay, so during this time, just pull out your umbrella, even if it's just drizzling, then cover your hair with your hoodie and you're good to go. Also, you can wear head wraps. I still wear head wraps. Maybe for some people, they don't want to wear the bright head wraps during this season because they feel like during this time you're not supposed to wear bright colors, which for me, I don't mind. I actually still wear my Ankara head wraps in every color. I actually wear every color during the all year round. Is that how you say it? All year round, I wear every color. But some people don't like to do that. And in that case, you can just opt for wearing blacks or browns or nude colored scarves, okay? It doesn't have to be Ankara material. It can just be any material. But just make sure to wear your satin bonnet or your satin scarf underneath, and then you wrap your hair. The same applies to when you're wearing hat. Make sure to wear your satin scarf, your satin bonnet underneath your hat. Your hat. Anyways, any of the two. Yeah, just make sure to keep your hair protected with the satin, and then on top of it, you wear your hat so that your hair doesn't dry out whilst trying to prevent your hair from drying out. Yeah. Don't leave the house with wet hair. I know some people like to still rock their wash and goes, you know, regardless of the weather. Wash and go here, wash and go there, wash and go everywhere. I have a video where I express my opinion about wash and goes, but anyway, this is not a video for that. But if you're interested in knowing what I think, then you can kindly check out this video and you know what I think about wash and goes. But what I'm trying to say is, like, don't go out with your hair wet. Any kind of style, you might have your hair in this kind of twist and they might still be wet. Don't go out with your hair wet, because the wetness, unless you want to get sick, for one, go out with your hair wet. It is your prerogative. It is your hair. You can do what you want with your hair. I know, but I'm advising you, if you want to keep your hair moisturized and not break off your head, then don't go out with your hair wet, because the wetness of your hair and the cold wind, the combination leads to breakage. Okay, the combination of wet hair outside in the cold leads to breakage. What happens to water when it's cold outside? When it's really, really cold, it freezes and it becomes ice, right? And it crystallizes and becomes ice, right? The same happens to the water driplets in your hair. So if you still have water driplets in your hair, it's going to freeze up. Yes, it's going to become crystallized. Yes, and these water driplets are still attached to your hair, right? So that means your hair is going to break. Your hair is going to become stiff, dry, and if you just do this, whip, off with your ends, off with the heads. 9. Off with your ends. The end's gonna break. Your hair is gonna break because of this. Is it physical, physiology, chemistry reaction of wind and water and cold and yeah. In order to avoid having dry hair and having breakage, the breakage part, I'm still going to talk about it in a different video, so look out for that video where I go into more details as to how to prevent your hair from breaking during this time of the year. So yes, but for now, just for keeping your hair moisturized, don't go out with your hair wet. Do more hot oil treatments. Hot oil treatments usually leaves your hair more moisturized. It's considered a pre-poo. You can do it as a pre-poo before washing your hair. Pre-poo means pre-shampooing. Okay, so before you shampoo your hair, you've done your hot oil treatment, preferably overnight, because then the oil really coats your hair and strengthens your hair from the inside, and it keeps the moisture in your hair. So when it comes time to shampoo, your hair doesn't lose as much of its natural oils because the oil from the pre-poo acts as a barrier and helps your hair to retain more of the moisture. Whereas if you don't do hot oil treatment or a pre-poo before shampooing, your hair is going to lose more moisture. It's going to lose more of its natural oils, and your hair might feel drier. Not necessarily dry, but just drier than if you were to use the hot oil treatment or a pre-poo. Okay, so I'd recommend to incorporate during this time more hot oil treatments, and usually I do it overnight because I found to have the best results when I do my hot oil treatments overnight. So I'd usually, my hair would be like this. I'd apply, not like this, I would take the twist out, apply the olive oil. I use olive oil for everything, so that's what I use on my hair. I use olive oil, and then I twist my hair back up in a twist, and then like I do that for all sections, and then I tie my hair up in a bun. I cover my hair with a plastic cap, and then I wear my satin bonnet and I go to bed. And if I feel like it might leak, I use a stocking that I cut. So I just have the leg. Okay, so the satin. Let me go and look for that satin. Not satin. The scrunchy thing. The scrunchy thing. Where is the scrunchie? It's right here. So I grab this, and then I tie it around my edges to secure the plastic bag even more, to prevent the oil from leaking while sleeping. And to double that, I put towel on my pillowcase just to be safe, to keep my pillowcase clean in case oil still decides to leak through, which usually it doesn't because of the other the other preventive measures that I have taken. Deep conditioning more frequently also helps to keep your hair moisturized during this time and preventing it from drying out as quickly. Like moisturizing deep conditioners is what I'd recommend to use to really get that moisture into your hair. This time, during this season, you have to push the moisture into your hair by fire, by force. In any means possible, you have to really try to up your moisturizing game. You get the same results like when you do the hot oil treatment, okay? Your hair will stay moisturized longer, whereas if you don't do the deep conditioning, your hair will dry out more. So if you do a combination of hot oil treatment and more deep conditioning, your hair should be more moisturized and should stay moisturized longer versus not doing either of the two or doing both. And this leads me to my last point: moisturizing your hair even more. Making sure your hair stays moisturized means you have to be on top of your moisturizing game. you have to force the moisture into your hair by fire, by force, any means possible, especially for people with high porosity hair. During this time, your hair might feel like it's constantly dry. It's always dry, okay? As if what you're doing is not enough. Even though you feel like you're moisturizing, you have to even double up the moisturizing game, because why do I keep saying low? Because high porosity usually dries out quicker, and during this time of the year it dries out even more, okay, because of the cold air. So that means for high porosity hair, you have to moisturize your hair more frequently. Moisturize your hair before it gets dry. Moisturize your hair multiple times a day, and if possible, carry your moisturizer along with you wherever you go. Let it be in your handbag. You don't have to carry the whole jar. You can just get a small container and put some of your moisturizer into that container, and whenever you feel like your hair is dry, if you don't want anyone seeing you moisturize your hair in public, you can just go to the restroom and apply a moisturizer and you're good to go. But if you don't mind, someone like me, I wouldn't mind. I would just take my moisturizer out, rub it into my hand, and just apply it into my hair. But that's just me. But that's just me, you know. Just ways to keep your hair moisturized, okay? Just make sure you can just get this small containers from you guys call it dollar store or pound store, or for us it's €1 store. For me here in Germany, we have €1 store, okay? So you can just get like those cheap containers and just put in your moisturizer and you're good to go, and have it in your handbag. If you have different bags to interchange during the week, you can just get a lot of these small jars and just distribute your moisturizer in it, and even oils, okay? So you moisturize and then you seal. There are these small bottles that you can travel with, those travel sized bottles to fill in stuff. Yeah, you can get that and put it in your handbag, and then during the day you can moisturize your hair, okay? And for low porosity hair, if you're not careful, you might actually suffer from buildup, because low porosity hair, actually the cuticles are more closed versus high porosity hair. That means the products find it more difficult to penetrate, and if it's cold, the product might feel more solid, okay? They might be more solid because of the cold. So some products feel harder when it's cold. Products like coconut oil, shea butter, they usually get harder when it's cold. And some other products I have used in the past, I noticed that during the winter period, they are more harder, versus when it's summer, it's more softer to apply. For low porosity hair, you have to make sure to warm the product up in the palms of your hand very well, and then work it into your hair properly so that your hair can absorb it, so that it can actually get into your hair strands, into your hair shaft, and moisturize your hair. Otherwise, it will just sit on top of your hair, and you will know it's sitting on top of your hair if your hair still looks white after moisturizing and the product is still on your hair. It doesn't like vanish, okay? The whiteness doesn't vanish. Then you know the products did not penetrate, but it's just sitting on top of your hair, and your hair would still feel dry because the product hasn't seeped into your hair shaft. So you'll be tempted to add more product because you're wondering, why is your hair still dry? And piling up the products will lead to build up, and your hair would feel even more dry, okay? So just make sure to work the product in properly. You have to take time to make sure your hair absorbs the product very well to actually get the benefits of the moisturizer, okay? Yeah, so guys, basically these are my tips that I found helpful for me during this time of the year. I've been living in Germany for a long time now, and I've been natural for getting to 10 years in this cold, and I've learned the hard way to keep my hair moisturized during this season. Maybe these tips might help you, okay? If you have a different method of keeping your hair moisturized, kindly leave them in the comments below. We all might benefit from your own experiences and your own tips. I mean, we are a community where we share, okay? I give, you give, we share, okay? And we learn more. I'm still learning, and you are still learning. We learn together. Am I starting to preach again? No. And I also wanted to know if you guys are interested in me having a separate email account where you guys can send me questions regarding hair or maybe other stuff. I don't know. Maybe you have questions, and sometimes your questions, even though you comment in the comments below, I might not see it. Not just I might not be able to respond to your comment, not because I don't want to, but because I didn't see your comment. And it'll be months later that I'll see your comment. I'll be like, oops, 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 oops. And then I feel bad for not responding to your comments. Yeah. So in order to prevent maybe losing your comment or not being able to answer or respond to your questions in the comments below, maybe if you guys are interested, I would create an email account where you guys can send in your questions, and if I'm able to answer your questions, I would answer it privately, or I might just gather all the questions you have and then make a video with frequently asked questions or something like that, and then I'll just answer your question in that video, okay? But just let me know in the poll, is it up there? In the poll, whether you are interested in it, say yes or nah, or maybe. So depending on how many people vote yes, depending on how many people vote yes, then I'm gonna go ahead and I can't talk. Depending on how many people vote for yes, I'm gonna then open email account, okay, where you guys can send me your questions. I feel like I talked so much. My mouth is dry. I need water. I need water. I need the water. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you liked it, don't forget to give it a like, to subscribe, to hit that subscribe button, and turn on the post notification so that you are notified when I upload my new video. Yes. Thank you so much for watching this video. It is your girl, Obaa Yaa, never changing. Obaa Yaa. Bye. Mwah. Cry me a river, cry me a river. But why? Why should somebody cry me a river? What did the person do to me? Nobody did to me anything. Why? Reg.